File movement slip. Use for long-term file movements. Please complete this form and send it to the records office when you pass a file to another officer. This will enable the records office to ensure that its records are accurate. File number. File transit ladder. Each file movement must be recorded on the transit ladder on the front of the file cover. This records the same information that appears on the file transit sheet. Transit ladders provide a record of all officers who have handled any particular file. When a ladder is full, it must be replaced with a new blank ladder. File census. It must be accepted that sometimes an officer will pass a file to another officer when she has finished using it, without the file's transfer being recorded in the records office. In order to confirm the location of files that are not in the records office's custody, records staff should carry out a regular census of every file outside the records office. If no discrepancies are found, the frequency of file censuses can be reduced. Records office staff must visit every action officer at regular intervals. Once a week is recommended to list on a file census form all the files held by that officer. The person carrying out the census must sign the bottom of each census form used, and the form is also initialed by the relevant action officer. Then check the information on the file census form against that in the transit book to ensure that the up-to-date location of each file is correctly recorded. If there is any discrepancy, the file transit sheet must be amended and the discrepancy reported to the head of the records office. Requests for files. All requests for files from the records office should be directed to the head of the records office, who is responsible for ensuring that file movements are fully recorded before files are issued. In the file and ask the person requiring the file for instructions. Tracing missing files. If a file is missing, the records office must proceed as follows. 1. The head of the records office must contact the action officer to whom the file was last recorded in the file's transit sheet and ask him or her to trace it. 2. If this fails or is impracticable, the head of the records office must circulate a note to all officers in the department/ministry asking them to check whether they have the file. 3. If the file still cannot be found, a special search must be initiated by an officer with specific authority to ensure that the search is effective. The search must be repeated several times if necessary. 4. As soon as the records office staff learn that a file is missing and may be lost, they must write the words "missing file" on the relevant transit sheet. A list of missing files should be maintained by the head of the records office, periodic searches carried out and a record kept of the area searched. Temporary files. 1. If action on a topic covered by a missing file continues, open a temporary file. This should only be done if absolutely necessary. 2. A temporary file is opened in the same way as a normal file. It is given the same number as the missing file and its existence is recorded in the normal way. 3. If available, temporary file covers should be used. If temporary file covers are unavailable, a standard file cover should be used but must be boldly marked with the word "temporary." 4. All relevant record sheets should be similarly marked. No temporary file should be opened without the authority of the head of the records office. 5. When the original file is found, all papers on the temporary file must be transferred to the original file in proper date sequence and must be renumbered in folio order. 6. Mark the front cover of the temporary file with the date that the original was found. The printed and transit ladder of the temporary file cover should then be cut away and placed on the original file. 7. The temporary file's transit sheet and all index sheets must similarly be marked with the date that the original was found and then struck through, but retained in the same place in the respective books. 8. Also amend the transit sheet for the original file and update the list of missing files to show that the file has been found.